Welcome to the Cats Pod. First off-season episode of all time. I am Ben Christians, joined by my... I don't know. I didn't come up with a word this week.
Oh, man. You're letting me down.
You know what the first thing that came into my mind was? Does not fit at all? I don't know why this word just popped into my head, but polyamorous. I was like, that's not it.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, don't look it up. I got nothing, but he's Eric Lover, you know? The dude.
The guy.
Let's
go.
The guy, Eric Lover.
It's weird.
It is weird not having a cat game to talk about.
Yeah. Well, there was one to talk about. We're just going to let sleeping dogs lie, I think.
Yeah. We talked about it.
Yeah.
We might not remember much of what we said about it. But we talked.
Yeah, we had a great time after that episode.
Yeah, we said words and then we had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Going forward, I guess all we have to talk about is the rest of the FCS.
The rest of the bracket.
Yeah.
That's what we have to talk about now, and hopefully people will care enough to listen at this point.
Yeah. We are officially an FCS podcast.
We're an FCS podcast.
Yeah.
Now. Watch out, FCS Nation.
Yep.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you. We are hot on your heels with our hundreds of listeners. You know?
Ben and I have decided that we are not going to talk about our picks from last week.
Last week didn't happen, okay? Yeah. Stop it.
Like I said, let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah, it didn't happen. If I don't think about it, it didn't happen. That's been my whole mantra in life.
Yeah. But looking forward, we have some exciting games. And I just have to stop and tell a quick story here.
Okay.
On FCS Fans Nation, a lovely North Dakota State Bison fan, and I am going to put quotations around lovely.
Oh, lovely. Just a great human being.
They are trying to sell tickets to the Cat Grizz fans, or Grizz fans specifically, of a sweatshirt with the guy who blocked the extra point's arm raised up in the air, saying, "Oh, you should get these for your Cat Grizz rivalry game next year." And I commented back at him and said, "Well, congratulations, you just got the entire state of Montana rooting against you." Which then dredged up a whole line of very angry Bison fan that I said that. So I then went on to tell him that I thought it would be pretty funny if North Dakota State lost to USD twice in the same season. That would be very funny.
Yeah.
But needless to say, there are some North Dakota State fans. I mean, the ones that were at the game weren't too bad. But there are some keyboard warriors out there that are just total pukes.
Like we said before, the players, you guys can stay off Twitter because we've got you.
Yeah.
We've got your back. You don't need to be on there. But also the delusion of an NDSU fan, any of those NDSU fans, think that anybody from Montana likes them.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Who would cheer for them? Nobody would even wear a hoodie or anything, a t-shirt, whatever, that has a Bison on it or a Bison player. Yeah. Like there's pretty much all around hatred between U of M and MSU when it comes to the Bison. It's really the only thing that brings us together. So I guess I should be saying thank you. Thank you, North Dakota State, for finally giving Cat and Grizz fans something to agree on, and that's how much we dislike you.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, looking toward that matchup, North Dakota State, University of South Dakota, man, I gotta put my faith in South Dakota here. They're a good football team. They have a fantastic defense, and I cannot stomach the thought of rooting for North Dakota State or picking them in any fashion. I gotta go with South Dakota.
I'm definitely not gonna root for North Dakota State. But judging by the way that they played against the Cats defense last night, I think that they are a different team than when they played South Dakota the first time. In my heart, I do not want them to win.
I'm just shaking my head at you.
But in my head, I see a way where they are going to beat South Dakota in this game. In my head, I see that. When I'm trying to think about this game intelligently and not when I'm going facts over feelings, I want to go with NDSU. But I'm a man that is completely run by his emotions. I have no actual facts in my brain that determine the things that I'm going to decide. And so I am going to say, I agree with you fully that South Dakota State's going to win this game.
I mean, South Dakota State got the seed, but I didn't look up betting lines on any of these games at all. But my guess is North Dakota State is favored.
That'd be tough.
Well,
if you want to go and look it up, we can.
I'm going to look it up.
Talk about that in a second. It's just. I hope that South Dakota isn't as one-dimensional as I'm thinking that they are. I know that they have some talent on their offense because they outscored a Sac State offense that we have seen do some pretty incredible things. South Dakota putting up 34 points on them, is that the same as putting up 34 points on the Bison? I don't think so. No, sorry. I have to pronounce it like a North Dakotan, so it's Bison. Bison. Are all of the NDSU players just an advertisement for Zin? Like they're just trying to get you to buy Zin wherever you go?
Their whole program is centered around getting people off of tobacco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy Zin.
Buy Zin. Don't chew Copenhagen, buy Zin.
North Dakota State is minus 286, almost 3-1 favorites.
Wow. That is surprising.
That's
a momentum pick.
That's disrespectful.
That is a momentum pick for sure. You have to be going with the momentum that North Dakota State has had through the end of the season. And it's also a legacy pick where, I don't know, it was an overtime game. It was, I don't know how much momentum you can take from that other than emotional. You might even have a hangover from this game. You might have a mini hangover from this game just because you're so over the moon about beating a Montana State team that outplayed you for 4 quarters and some of overtime until one play.
I absolutely despise North Dakota State with every fiber of my being, but being totally frank, South Dakota's defense is legit.
Yeah.
And our defense was legit. North Dakota State didn't play just totally fantastic against the Bobcats.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going up against another really stout defense, and I'm just not convinced North Dakota State has the steam. But maybe. But it would be great if South Dakota beat them twice in the same season. That would just make my day.
That would be super helpful for us and our self-esteem.
Yeah.
You know, for just my ego in general, that would really help it out a lot.
I need it. I just need this.
I need it. We need a win.
Come on, USD.
We need a win so bad, and right now USD seems like they're winning for us.
Yes, exactly.
You know, USD is out there playing for the boys in blue.
Yeah.
They're playing for the boys in blue and gold out there. And they just want to get the respect that they deserve, frankly, at this point.
I mean, they are the 3 seed for a reason.
Yeah.
They played a really hard schedule. They've really played extremely well all year long, aside from one game against South Dakota State. Other than that, they've really been a solid team. Mm-hmm. Where North Dakota State, you can pick holes into that team.
Yep.
In a lot of different spots. So, my pick is South Dakota.
If they shut down Cam Miller the way that we did, I think that they have a very solid chance of winning that game.
Yeah, if they have a Nolan Askelson type player flying around, it's going to be a long day for Cam Miller.
It would be a long day for him, for sure.
Next one, South Dakota State, Villanova. South Dakota State's going to, they're going to destroy these guys, right?
It's hard to pick anybody to beat South Dakota State in general. Like, it's hard to show anybody who played them close outside of the Cats. That's the only team that's played them close all season.
Yeah.
So, Villanova, I was riding for you last week. I was giving you all the credit. And maybe the fun offense that they have going on makes this an interesting game and something fun to watch. And I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
But I don't see them beating South Dakota State. I think they have way too much firepower offensively, defensively. I don't think the line matchup is going to help out at all.
No.
There's just nothing in this game outside of Villanova just coming out on fire offensively to where I see that they can do this. Because the only way that people have beat or come close to beating South Dakota State is when they take an early lead and they control the clock. And I don't know if Villanova has that kind of offense. I think they have to just keep firing.
Yeah.
They can't get a lead and then control possession.
Yeah, I can't see Villanova. I mean, I think they could put up a good effort for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I still think South Dakota State's going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, they're just a better team altogether than anyone left in the playoffs.
Yep.
They're just that good.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the Bobcats, they're not better than the Bobcats.
We're not even in anymore, but we still riding or dying with you, boy.
We want you, boys.
We want you.
We'll see you next year.
We'll see you next year. We are ready. We might have to do our own like kind of off-season workouts or something. We got to get in better shape for next year so that we can be a better podcast for you guys.
Right.
Right. I'm going to be like reading all the information I can. I'm going to come back a much more learned fan for sure.
Yeah. Next we got Albany, Idaho. Toss up?
I guess. I really think that Idaho is going to win this game. I know they didn't have a spectacular game against the Salukis, but...
Say it one more time.
Salukis.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is a very fun thing to say. I wish they were still in the playoffs because it would be fun to say. Albany, they showed they were good with the sticks, but they could also block.
Yeah.
Great lacrosse school. Turns out they can play football as well.
Yeah, they destroyed Richmond. Picking Richmond for the logo did not work out for me.
Nah, logo picks did not work. And it is kind of just a weird outline of a spider without no outline actually at all.
Yeah,
it's just a silhouette.
Yeah,
just the silhouette of a spider.
Then so we have the Great Danes versus the Vandals. So if you're picking logos here, you got to go with Great Danes, right?
I guess so. I mean, logo pick. In a tiny logo form, the University of Albany does not do so well.
No,
because it just looks like a weird horny goat.
Didn't you call them the Beagles last week?
I did call them the Beagles, the Albany Beagles. Those hound dogs can hunt, though. Let me tell you what, brother. Those hound dogs get out there and they can hunt. They have treed a few raccoons in their life. They have treed a few raccoons. It just reminds me of where the red fern grows, and I don't need to cry anymore because I've been crying for a couple weeks now. So, I don't need any more of that. No more tears.
Yeah.
No more tears. There's no crying in podcasting, okay? But I want to go Idaho in this game.
I don't know Albany at all, really. And I know Idaho, I know what they are. So it's hard to pick against them.
And they're hard to beat in the Kibbe Dome.
Yeah, they are.
They are very tough to play there.
But I thought they were going to lose to Southern Illinois last week, to be honest with you. I thought it was...
It was looking like that.
Yeah.
We were sitting at Bar 9, and I was watching the game over everybody's shoulder, and I was just paying way closer attention to that than any other conversation.
Yeah.
And I really thought that Idaho was in a bad spot.
It seemed like it. I really thought they were going to lose, but they pulled it out, and I think that's just the kind of team Idaho is. They're a bunch of scrappers.
Yeah. They win close games. They win tough games.
So I think Idaho is going to win this one. And that being said, we also know nothing about Albany, other than they're good with the sticks.
They're good with the sticks, and apparently they can block as well.
Yeah.
All right, so last matchup this week is Furman versus the University of Montana Grizzlies.
Yeah. Woo. Woo. This would be a fun one to talk about.
This is exciting. What an exciting matchup. So many talking points. Where do we even start with this one?
Man, this is a rematch of the 2001 national championship, right?
Damn, pulling out the 2001 championship. I'm proud of you.
Montana won that game, and for everything. I've been seeing a lot of Furman chatter online. A lot of Furman chatter. There are
a lot of talk about the Furmen.
They are very confident.
The werewolves, they're out there. The Furmen.
They are very confident that they can come into Missoula and upset Missoula.
Which would be insane. We are having abnormally temperate weather for Montana right now. And I don't know what it's supposed to be going in the weekend. I think it's supposed to cool off some, but I don't know if there's going to be a bunch of snow.
Yeah, I don't know.
But is South Carolina going to come up into Montana during a snow game and win?
Oh, no.
No.
I would be shocked if Furman can keep this within 2 scores.
Yeah.
Shocked.
I mean, the Grizz have had their way paved to the semifinals of the championship with a fairly, the softest playoff bracket quadrant that there is outside of what South Dakota State is playing.
Yeah.
And Villanova might be better than Furman. I'm not going to lie. I think Villanova might be better than Furman.
You have a legitimate argument in saying that.
Yeah.
There is a chance Furman could surprise us all, but it is so small. The Grizzlies are going to steamroll these guys.
I think that's just what it has to be because I don't see it happening any other way. The way they played against Delaware last week and just dominated them, the way that they've been playing the last few weeks of the season, it's an entirely different Grizz team than we ever thought we would be seeing at this point.
And for any Grizz fans listening to this podcast, just know how hard it is for us to say that.
We picked you.
It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I even said the Delaware game was going to be a terrible blowout last week, and it was. And I fully expect this one. Now, they're probably not going to win by 30 points.
No, I just don't believe in the Furman.
Yeah, I don't.
Do not believe in them.
I really don't either, honestly.
It is just hard to say nice things about them because I've only seen them play very mediocre football, and they don't score a lot of points. Even when they win, they don't score a lot of points.
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies are going to have their way with these guys pretty hardcore. Everybody knows what it's like playing in Washington Grizzly. Everybody knows what it's like playing at altitude. Not that Missoula's too terribly high, but it just seems like everything is stacked against Furman.
Mm-hmm.
And for all those Furman fans that are talking a bunch of trash on the internet,
just keep living your dream.
You got a couple days. You
have to let the jokes fly pregame a little bit,
Yeah.
before you see what happens, because you got to be confident in your team.
Yeah.
Any Furman fan, you can't walk into this game being like, "Oh, we're gonna get dominated." That's the worst type of fan ever. I hate the contrarian fans who call themselves fans of a team, but then they're always like, "Yeah, well, they're probably gonna get their just butts kicked entirely."
Yeah.
They just soft fans actually piss me off more than hardcore fans that believe in their team way too much.
Yeah. I feel pretty confident in all of our picks. I know you thought North Dakota State might pull that one off, but I feel pretty confident in South Dakota. But it feels like the toss-up is Albany-Idaho. Mm-hmm. I feel like that one's a toss-up. We both are picking Idaho, but I feel like that's going to be the tightest game of all of them.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really interesting day of football. There's a lot of different things that can happen.
Yeah.
I guess we get 2 nights of football.
Yeah, we get a Friday
we
night
get a Friday night and a Saturday. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. It's not all just on one day, but honestly, it's going to be very tough for me to watch any of the night games because my season is going to start.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be coaching a game during both of the night games, most likely. So we'll see what happens. I'll definitely catch it on ESPN Plus afterwards so that I can actually talk about it. But I'm hoping that I'm riding high off some wins as a coach because I need it.
Yeah.
I need it more than anything.
Yeah. It should be a good weekend of football. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. A lot of quality games. Which game would you say you're looking forward to the most? Which one do you think is going to be the most interesting out of this slate of games?
South Dakota, North Dakota State, just because I absolutely need North Dakota State to lose this game. I do not want to watch them sniff Frisco.
And that's probably the most powerful matchup
And if it comes down to it,
Yeah.
I will root for the Grizzlies to beat North Dakota State. That's how much I hate them.
This is tough.
I said if it comes down to it. I'm not hoping it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Perfect situation. We could have Furman USD.
Furman USD. That is our dream matchup for the semifinals over here. That is what we're looking forward to. I think the one that I'm most intrigued by is the Albany-Idaho game. Just because I want to see how well this Albany team actually plays. I think it could make for a really interesting game. It looks like Albany's got a pretty powerful offense, and they might be able to have a high-scoring game with Idaho and make some things happen.
Yeah.
That one definitely looks very interesting to me, for
definitely.
sure.
Definitely. Well, I think it's time we talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it is a rather large elephant.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a pretty tough week to be on the Twitters.
Yeah.
It's been a tough week to be on the Twitters because of a little thing we like to call the transfer portal.
Yeah. And I think when you look at the transfer portal and you look at the guys who entered their name in it, most specifically, you know, the Rush Reimers, the Omars, Sebastian Valdez, like those kind of guys, and the offers that come back, is that not a bit of a testament to the coaching staff? Like, we're hearing a lot of junk online about the coaching staff. But they're turning these guys who committed to Montana State into legit D1 players.
Yeah,
Legitimate
they have to be
Power
making
5.
an impact, at least.
I mean, they're lifting these guys up and making them superstars. Because that's what you are if you get to go play football at a Texas Tech like Omar. You know, I saw that one come through on his Twitter. That's among a bunch of others.
Yep.
But that's crazy. Playing at Texas Tech?
Yeah,
If that was a possibility?
major Power 5 schools
Yeah.
are looking to add these Cat players because they have improved a ton in their time with the Cats, and they were already studs.
Yeah.
And we already love them all.
I mean, it's got to be, as far as like players, last year we had a couple players transfer up, going up a level. Specifically the old kicker and Ifonse. They went up. They had really nice seasons, and that was really cool to see. But now we have, 3 guys right now. I don't know. I haven't seen anything on Kettles on what he's doing, but those 3 guys, they're going to be playing big time college ball, and we're going to be following those guys hopefully into the NFL.
Yeah. Always supporting those dudes, and we will always take credit for them being Bobcats.
Yes.
When they play in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
They may go to a different school and they may be drafted out of a different school, but we're always going to be like, hey, remember?
Yep.
That guy's one of the Cats.
Yeah.
He is one of the Cats.
It's like it's a catch-22, watching these guys go, because you're so thankful for what they did for your school, and it is really hard to watch them leave. But it's like, if you were in that situation, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would. I did.
Yeah.
Not in sports, but I left Montana State to go to Iowa State.
Yep.
And it was a fantastic decision. Really, honestly, I don't. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
But everybody's saying, this is just the reality of in the FCS at this point. It is a bit of a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Because if you come and you're a big dog in the FCS, these guys finally see you.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really does suck when they leave. But I'm just happy that they're getting opportunities they're going to get.
Yeah. I think it's probably the same for you. But it feels like this year, the players entering the transfer portal stings a little bit more.
It does, yeah.
Like it doesn't sting as in like I feel slighted by them, but just the way that we have watched this team this year and the way that we've been ride or die, I feel closer with these guys that I've never met, that I've ever felt about any football team in history. So it's like we see these guys go and I'm like, damn, Omar is one of our followers. He's a podcat. He follows us on Instagram and everything, and there's different players like that where it's like, I would love you to stick around, but I also am wishing the best for you wherever you go, and especially Omar, you belong at a big school.
Oh yeah,
you belong there. Like, you are doing something that is very important. But I also want to bring up the end of your story, because you did transfer to Idaho State.
Iowa State. Let's be clear. Iowa State.
What did I say?
Idaho State.
Oh, my bad. You did transfer to Iowa State. I'm sorry, I'm struggling with pronunciation today, apparently. But you came back.
I did come back.
You can always come back. That's my message. You
Yes.
know? If you want to leave, that's cool. You know? That's fine.
Yeah.
You can always come back.
You can always come back.
You can always come back to us.
We'll take you with open arms.
Get back into the web.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
No.
No, it's just, it's tough to watch him go, but glad to see him, doing something big.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun. And like I said, we will automatically root for whatever team you go to,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you make it to the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah, I might switch teams.
And all these people, yeah. I get so sick and tired of hearing, all this smack talk about players transferring and everything. And it's like, sometimes people are just, they need to go do something bigger,
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor that Seabass got, he potentially maybe going to University of Washington. University of Washington is in the college football playoffs. Yeah. Why would you say no to that?
Exactly. If that is something that you have an opportunity to do,
yeah,
you'd be dumb to turn it down.
Exactly.
You'd be absolutely stupid.
Exactly. And
also, for just 1 second, just a huge thank you to Sebastian Valdez.
Yeah.
For everything that you have done playing for the Cats. Huge thank you to Seabass, one of the best nicknames in the business. And he has just been such a dog for this team for, it feels like a very long time.
It has been a long time.
He feels like, even though he's from California, he feels like a Montana guy.
Well, and he's been on all these teams and been such an integral part of the teams. Mm-hmm. And that goes with the linemen from this year too. I mean, they were so good, and that's why it sucks to watch them go.
Yeah.
But happy for him.
Happy for him.
Definitely happy for him.
Yeah.
But then, kind of leads me into the next thing I just wanted to bring up quick. This week, having to listen to the North Dakota State fans has been one thing, but I got to be honest with you, man. After some really deep reflection, working on the ranch is very, I get a lot of quiet time to think.
Yeah.
And there's all this blame getting thrown around online. I feel terrible for the entire team having to even think, listen, or read, or anything like it.
Yeah.
And the number one name that keeps getting brought up is Taylor Housewright.
Yeah.
But if you take this combination of Taylor Housewright and Brett Vegan and you reduce it to what they have accomplished, Taylor Housewright accomplished the number one scoring offense in FCS and the number one rushing offense in FCS. Yeah. That is not an easy accomplishment. Granted, he has fantastic players and a fantastic offensive line, but it's still not easy. People forget
You have to give them some credit. You have to give him some credit.
Yes.
You can't say that it's all the players.
Right. So, I'm sitting here, and I'd be lying if I said, if I was totally innocent on everything. Mm-hmm. But when you sit down and actually think logically about it, what he accomplished this season is extremely hard to do. He is a good coach. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And it just gets really old reading all the garbage that you see on Facebook, and all these people have such knee-jerk reactions to everything, and hindsight being 20/20 all the time. Taylor Housewright did something that is very hard to do. It's not been done by very many people. Of course, I'm not looking that up or anything, but he did fantastic. The other thing is, I'm really, really getting tired of hearing any bad comments about Brett Vegan. Especially with Jeff Choate being in the headlines recently for getting the Nevada job.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, Remember the choke days?
Yeah.
Remember those choke days? Well, guess what the winning percentage difference is between Brett Vegan and Jeff Choate? It's like 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Vegan barely loses games.
Yeah.
Very few. You know, Jeff Choate was a fantastic coach. We all love him.
It's not talking bad about him at all. Just to bring up that Brett Vegan is also a very good coach.
I'm getting really sick of. So, let me put this a different way. Remember at the beginning of this, when we first started out on this podcast, we were talking about how we needed to keep our realities in check because we remember what it was like before we got this string of really good coaches.
Yep.
We were terrible all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't been good for that long, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how fast we forget about being terrible all the time.
Yeah.
Because we are good.
Mm-hmm.
We are not losing very many games.
No.
It obviously sucks to lose games.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes to do that.
Yeah.
But it just seems like a fan base that is so used to losing just all went overboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just blame everybody.
It's like we're the new money Bobcats.
It's like
we don't know how to handle the money because we haven't had the money before. The money being wins.
And don't get me wrong.
Now we've got it and we're like, okay, we need more.
Right.
We need more. We need to win every game now.
We got to stop being so darn greedy all the time. Like, of course, we all want to win every single game, and we want to throw up 55 points a game. That'd be fantastic. And they can't score any. I mean, that would you can't ask for any better than that. But that's unrealistic.
No.
What's realistic is having winning seasons. It's funny how we get away from that, and then the first thing we do is turn around and blame the coaches when all they did was create the number one scoring offense and the number one rushing offense in the entire FCS.
And if three single plays go differently this season, we are talking about this season in a completely different light.
And that's football.
Yeah. If we get the touchdown versus South Dakota State, if we go to overtime versus Idaho, and if we make that extra point against NDSU, we are talking about the greatest season that the Bobcats have ever had.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Right.
But we have those three individual plays don't go our way. And that means time to cut everybody.
Right.
Time to get rid of everybody.
And we lose, all you see on Twitter is how terrible it is that the Bobcats lost 3 of their offensive linemen, and so that this was before Sebastian Valdez announced it, and that's a huge loss. But you're talking about the deepest position group in all of FCS is Montana State's offensive line. Yeah. There are absolute studs that are still there,
and we're picking up more.
Hope they stay.
Yeah,
and we're picking up more. We've had a fantastic go with recruits lately, but I just had to say that, man. I'm just tired of seeing. People always ask, what would you change? And it's like, well, there's a lot of things I would change, but I'm not a coach.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this team. I don't know the inner workings of anything on a football team. But all I know is what I watched and what the statistics tell me. And that is we had a winning season, which a lot of teams do not.
Yep.
And they churned out points and yards.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm just sick of the Taylor Housewright crap talking all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. He doesn't deserve it. I just had to say that. I had to get that out there.
I think the coaching staff has taken a lot of flack that they don't deserve it all, and I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that, especially recruiting-wise, the reason that we are going to stay a winning team is because of those people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people will take a 10-second video online, and they will make that the entire season.
Yeah.
So they see one bad interaction between a coach and a player on the sideline that is a momentary thing.
Happens all the time.
And that's what happens with winning teams.
Yeah.
Winning teams have some fire on the sideline.
Exactly.
There's going to be some competition because they're all high-level individuals.
They play with
They're
emotion.
all people who got there by going at each other and trying to beat the guy ahead of them constantly their entire life.
Yeah.
So you're going to have people that are yelling at each other on the sidelines.
And
it's a major part of sports.
If you know, we're talking a lot about Twitter right now, which I have spent a lot of time on Twitter this week just watching what's going on with the Cats. I'm not proud of that, but have been. All Brett Vegan is doing is recruiting right now. Mm-hmm. He's not taking days off with his family, going on trips, anything like that. Yeah. He is out there recruiting people for this team. Mm-hmm. You know, immediately following a devastating loss. Yeah. And he takes that as personal as anybody. Mm-hmm. But he's out there doing his job, and he's doing it well. So
when I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time online this week. I don't get to spend a lot of time online in general because with my job I'm not allowed to have a cell phone for the entire day. Yeah. So I don't spend a lot of time. But one thing I did notice today and yesterday was that Bobcat players were starting to post some highlights. Yep. Which might seem like it's not that big a deal. But to me, I was like, okay, these players have found some closure. They're ready to just think about the good things that happened this season. Yeah. And they're ready to move on and make better things happen in the future. Yeah. And it is a short time after that game happened, but it felt like a positive, healthy move for players to start thinking about how good things are and how they they're yearning for that win. They're yearning for those 3 plays to go the opposite way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line with this whole transfer portal and, coaching in general and the FCS, the fact of the matter is due to human nature, we're always going to want to do what's best for us. And if that means you get the opportunity to go to a Power 5 or something of that level, this is just a reality for every team in the FCS. This is not, everybody's making a really big deal about the Bobcats because of the high-profile names that left. This is not exclusive to the Bobcats. There are thousands of players entering the transfer portal trying to get to that next level or just trying to figure out a better fit or something. In our case, most of these big names are, transferring up. Yeah. Significantly up. Yeah. And, for all these people that are saying this is, the Bobcats are toast, they've just lost everything. Number one, they're wrong. We have an incredibly talented team. We have an incredibly talented coaching staff. Every team is going to lose people to the transfer portal, no matter what. You don't think the Grizzly players aren't going to get offers? You don't think Eli Gilman, after he wins the Jerry Rice Award, isn't going to get an offer? Mm. Oh, he's going to get an offer. Oh, yeah. He might not take it right now. He'd be stupid not to. Yeah. But I'm just saying, this is just a fact of life. I'm just sick and tired of hearing how terrible the transfer portal is, because it's not.
I just saw a big deal going on with NDSU right now, because they've already had 3 players get 6-figure offers.
I did hear
from larger schools, and so now NDSU is trying to get together with their alumni and everything to try and set up more NIL money to keep players around.
And that's
because there's going to be a lot of transferring up. There's going to be a lot of that because of the money factor of all this.
Yeah, and you just unfortunately, even though Bozeman might be a super rich area now, that money isn't going to. They're not going to pay the players they know nothing about. These people aren't from Montana.
But I think that Bozeman offers a special kind of environment for the FCS, though. Yeah. Just because of the money that is in the area and the larger corporations, and there's a lot of tech money there. Yeah. There's weirdly a lot of tech money in Bozeman, Montana, which could turn it into like a mini Bay Area type of situation.
Don't you ever
where players could come in.
Don't you call it that?
Well, I'm just talking about how like players that play for the Golden State Warriors, they end up making a lot more money than just their NBA checks. Oh, yeah. Because they live in a high money tech area.
Hey,
so if that money starts to go over,
Greg Gianforte, do us a solid here. Pay some players that Right Now Technologies.
Yeah. Right Now Technology seems like they need some advertising, They need some positive ads for sure. They need something at least. But
all right.
it's just I think it's something that could help out the Cats and could help them get recruits.
Yeah.
And we need to help out more players than just the Montana guys. Because it seems like the guys that are from Montana and the dudes that we recruit out in state, they get a lot of advertisements and stuff.
Well, I mean...
but we need to do that for out-of-state players, too.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, there is generally... It seems like, the Montana-owned businesses generally gravitate toward the Montana players.
Naturally, because that's what's going to get them...
Right. Because people
them support.
Know them. They know them best.
And they know them personally in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So, I'm just... just to kind of sum up this whole... we really took a lot together right there.
Yeah.
But, number one, I get people are frustrated with how this season went. My biggest thing is don't overreact. Yeah. It was a successful season. You think we wouldn't take this season back in the 90s? Oh,
easily.
We would.
Yeah.
So, number two, just don't get short-sighted. Remember what it was like to lose and just enjoy that we aren't just a total crapshoot all the time. Just gotta remember that. Number three, the transfer portal isn't the end-all be-all.
And it's not the enemy.
No.
It's our friend.
We can still recruit. We can still play in the transfer portal. It's not one way. We can still bring players in.
No.
It's not like Montana State is not a destination people don't want to go.
Yeah.
It is. It is truly is a destination people want to go. Mm-hmm. And number three, just take it easy on the coaches. For Christ's sake.
Give them a little bit of credit.
God.
We love to pile on the blame when there's a loss.
Yeah.
But you have to give credit for all the victories.
Right. Like I said, nobody's innocent. When something bad happens, you're always looking for somebody to blame. But it's time that we have a reality check here, remember what it used to be like, and realize that what we had this year wasn't a total bomb. No. That being said, we all love to win. I get that. Don't at me saying... But or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to at you.
No.
Everybody needs to at Eric.
Hey.
And they need to go at him because he is having... He's acting like it's not fun, but I guarantee he's having a lot of fun responding to people on Twitter.
But I actually, on Twitter, I only have 4 followers. I'm not sure how they found me, but I only have 4. And I'm only following...
We're operating underground. We're the podcast that they don't want to exist out there. They're trying to keep us underground.
I only follow 25 people, but it's all cat players. Yeah. So my entire feed is nothing but Bobcats, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
It's very nice. I just open up Twitter, and all I see is exactly what I want to see. Mm-hmm. No garbage, other than all those ads. Those ads are terrible, but you know what I'm saying.
That is the beauty of the Catspot Instagram, too. Because I go on my normal Instagram, and it's got like a bunch of random stuff from people that I barely talk to anymore. And then I go to the Catspot one, and it's just all the player stuff and all like people that enjoy watching the players.
Yeah. And
so I've created this little echo chamber for myself that's very fun to scroll through every day.
I'm really glad you brought up Instagram because, like you said, you bring up your personal one and it's all, things that you don't really care about. The players being as active as they are on Instagram is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's really fun to see how close those guys are, and they're all sharing each other's stuff. And there's just basically every time you open it up, there's something I want to go see because it's a cat player. Yeah. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what's up. So I really appreciate that those guys are so active on Instagram.
It is kind of funny when I go to like the stories on Instagram for the Catspod because I think I saw Nolan Askelson's post like 35 times in a row. Yeah. Because so many dudes on the team shared it because they all love him,
Yeah.
And it's cool to see that, but I'm like, okay, and again, and again, and again. Is there something new here?
Yeah.
And again, and again. I saw this thing 25 times already. Like, I love Nolan too. Okay. And then I go in there and I share it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and where were we?
Nowhere too important.
Yeah.
But not off the beaten path too much.
Not too bad.
No, I think
I kind of forgot what the train of thought here was. I think the biggest thing for me going forward is that, with the getting back to the playoffs and back to looking at the championship race. I really think this is South Dakota State's to lose, don't you?
very much.
Yeah.
They are a team that is a powerhouse, and it just makes us look better the more that they roast teams.
Yeah.
If they get to like a national championship versus the Grizz and then they beat them like 40-14 or something like that,
Yeah.
it just makes us look a little bit better at least.
Just kind of, we were looking at the commits for the Cats, and it's been a really good week for commits for the Bobcats. How much do you think the Grizz going to the national championship game would change things for us?
It's got to boost their recruiting quite a bit, just because we saw how much it boosted us.
Yeah.
Like, it changed our recruiting immensely when we made the national championship to play against North Dakota State.
Yeah.
It changed the way we could recruit. It changed just having that national coverage, being on ABC in like a morning game where you're getting a ton of watches and you're just getting random people that don't know anything about it. That kind of exposure helps out a recruitment team so much. And that's why the Grizz have had so much success decade over decade, because they've gone to those games frequently.
Right.
And they've had that exposure.
Yeah.
So nationally, people know the Grizz more than they know the Cats. The Cats are the new kids on the block when it comes to the national scene.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. The Cats' success, obviously we had the 84 championship and that kind of success, and then it was really bad for a long time, and it really affected things, obviously.
Yep.
And now we're kind of getting back into that, that rhythm of attracting really, really high-level players, and I think our recent commits really shows that. I mean, there are quite a few guys with stars next to their names that have decided that they like to play for the Bobcats. I mean, it's a really good list.
Along with our in-state recruits that are always going to be strong,
Right.
we're also throwing in a lot of people from around the country that are very good offensive and defensive players that could be premier players on the team for sure.
No disrespect to the Georgias and Alabamas of the world, but I mean, we got another hefty 3-star recruit running back. It kind of seems like Montana State might be the new RBU.
Yeah, it could be.
RBU?
I mean, I would love that. I love talking about the running backs. It's my favorite position. Running backs and wide receivers are my dudes out there.
Yeah.
And I am just excited to see new people coming in, and excited to see, at least so far, it looks like a lot of our skill position guys are staying home.
Yeah. So far.
I mean, it's still very early into the transfer portal stuff. So we'll see what happens, but it looks like we're getting a lot of people holding strong with the Cats.
Yeah, and I think
in those skill positions,
like you said, as long as we don't lose a whole lot more, I still feel very confident in this team. I mean, it is that deep, most specifically on the offensive line, but really on a whole, it is that deep of a team that we can afford to lose players, especially high-level players.
Yeah.
And still be right on par.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just really nice to see these new faces pop up. We've got some really big names.
And we're going to be very excited to get to know them.
Oh yeah.
We're going to get to know them the same way that we got to know all these players this year, and they're going to become. Who's going to be Julius Davis still around? But who's going to be the next guy like that?
Yeah.
That just pops onto the scene, and I just watch a game and I go, I love that dude already.
Yeah.
I just saw one play and the way he is, and I love that dude already.
We saw how you reacted to Scott Ray Humphrey, and he only started one game.
Exactly. Scott Ray is a dude.
Yeah.
There's so many dudes on this team.
Yeah.
Honestly, just seeing more of Adam Jones is something I look forward to.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
me
seeing
too.
more of that dude, because the few plays that he got in for this year, he played some pretty good football.
Yeah, Adam Jones, Garrett Kuhn.
Yeah.
What was that new kid's name that signed? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I have it on my phone
losing
though.
it too.
But I mean, it's such a deep running back room.
Yeah.
Ontario, is that right? I think that's it. Ontario. Yeah, that's who it is.
Oh.
And I mean, the kid's an absolute stud, and we just add him right back on to an already completely loaded. Yeah.
Ontario Latin Henley.
Yeah, Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, Washington.
3 stars.
Yeah.
What?
5'11", 195.
Bruiser.
Pretty solid size.
Yeah.
For a running back.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Leuven Valsin is another one. Another 3-star recruit.
I like how his position is just athlete.
Yep.
Just athlete on here. I love to see that.
6'3", 218. I mean, that guy's got some power.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big dude.
Whatever position he wants to play.
Yeah, put him somewhere. Put him somewhere. Yeah. I know we got a legacy, Dane Steele.
Dane Steele coming through.
Yep. I think both his brothers, Coy Steele and I think it's Brock. No, that's not right. I can't remember. But he's got 2 brothers that played for the Cats. One still does. But he committed, and look forward to seeing what he has to offer. But honestly, Vegan's out there doing his job and doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting guys in. We're losing them, but we're getting them in just as fast as we're losing them. So
We're
don't
going to
panic.
take some hits, but we're going to give them out just as well.
Right. Yeah. We're sitting pretty good. Don't panic, guys. The Cats, we're on the up.
Yeah.
We're on the upswing. It's, they're creating something there that is going to be lasting. So I
The
think
Bobcats are on the upswing, and the Podcats are also on the upswing.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, got anything else?
No, I think I'm good right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure that you start chirping at Eric, especially a lot on Twitter.
Let's hear it.
On Instagram, also, any players that we could hear from. Trying to set up interviews right now, so we're hoping to get to talk to as many Cat players, fans, and athletes as possible over this off season. Just trying to give everybody a little bit of insight into what's going on behind the scenes, since we have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, hit us up, jump on, because obviously we're shooting from the hip most of the time on what we're saying, but if you disagree with us, especially players, like if you disagree with us, hop on, let us know. We want to know. We want to have some dialogue in there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just we're going to need some people to talk to this summer.
Oh, yeah.
This winter, this spring, this summer, and then we do start football in August though.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we talk to each other too much as it is.
yeah.
You know, my fiance gets a little bit worried about how much I talk to Eric. So
It's
you
normal.
know,
It's normal.
We talk quite a bit, so we also need to bring other people into the conversation, so it's not so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, hit us up if you want to chat. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Please rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening to this at, and we will talk to you next week.